Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. Before we dive in, if you want to order any of the cards that we talk about in today's episode, be sure to check out our affiliates. Our Canadian affiliate, Hairy Tarantula, where you can use the promo code CMDR Space Mechanic at checkout, or TCG Player for our international viewers. Links to both are in the description. Now, I've had a lot of folks here on the channel and on Twitter reaching out asking about my process for deck building. What starts as an idea and turns itself into a full deck, and the steps in between. So today I wanted to do a little walkthrough of this process for you and show how my ideation results in a full deck list. And my latest idea for a personal deck comes from Wizards themselves. A new card from Modern Horizons 2, Academy Manufactor, is right up my alley. Whenever you make a food, clue, or treasure token, you instead create one of each. This can result in some weird scenarios when you have multiple Academy Manufactors in play, since they trigger from each other's creating tokens, spiraling out of control fast. In fact, the Modern Horizons 2 set notes highlight this and give me my challenge. They say, if you control 18 Academy Manufacturers, I don't know, you figure it out, and would create any of these tokens, you instead create 129,140,163 of each token. You can see it plain as day. They told me to figure it out. So, of course, I will. I love to make copies of permanents in this format where you're only supposed to have one of anything. So let's break something and see if we can't make mathematicians sweat a little bit. This is an interesting build, however. I'm starting with a goal in mind rather than a commander or a combo. So let's work backwards. Clearly, we want a few things for this interaction to work. Academy Manufactor is our key piece, so we need to find ways to find them. They're our hidden commander. We need ways to make copies of Academy Manufactor, and we need ways to reliably make food, clues, or treasures on demand so we can really ratchet up those numbers. Since we aren't starting with a commander in mind, let's see what we want to include in the 99 and work backwards from there. Color identity will only be required once we've determined what we want to do and what we want in the list. Now, as we really need Academy Manufactor to work, Tutors are going to be one of our primary necessities. Blue and black both have lots of options here for us. Between Fabricate, Demonic Tutor, and Whir of Invention, there are more than enough options to go find our little buddy. White has Enlightened Tutor as well, which certainly is a viable option, but blue and black give us the most variety. This includes Reshape, Vampiric Tutor, Trophy Mage. It's going to help increase our consistency very easily when we essentially have 6 or 7 copies of Academy Manufacturer in the list. Then we're going to want to make copies of our little robot buddy once we have them out. So how are we going to do that? Blue has plenty of options like Quasi-Duplicate or Clones, and red has temporary copies with Twin Flame. This can help us get many copies quickly, and even if we don't hit 18 copies, making even one treasure with multiple manufacturers out will slingshot us into the later game. Legendary creatures like Essex, Brutaclad, or Orvar can help us make copies too, but since none give us access to black for tutoring, these may be options for including in the 99, in order to help make our manufacturer army. We could also turn other creatures into the Manufacturer. Cards like Sakashima's Will, Saheeli, Sublime Artificer, and Masterful Replication can turn all of our creatures or artifacts into Academy Manufactors. These copy options really want us to lean into blue and red for our best bets. Now let's look at making tokens. Here's where we are not starved for options. We have colorless token generators like Witch's Oven, Tamio's Journal, and Prying Blade, all able to make clues, treasures, or food. White has some great stalwarts of the format with Smothering Tithe and Monologue Tax, along with the new Late to Dinner. Naturally, red makes us plenty of treasures from Dockside Extortionist, Stormkiln Artist, or Brass's Bounty. Black gives us Pitiless Plunderer, Revel in Riches, or Taste of Death to make us treasures in food. Green has Tireless Tracker, Gilded Goose, and the new Tireless Provisioner to provide any of the tokens we need. And blue has Hull Breacher, Trail of Evidence, and Spell Swindle to make us tokens. So clearly all colors can generate the tokens we're looking for. But if we include all of these options, we're going to be choked with tokens. I think the best bet is to lean into one or two kinds of tokens and incidentally create the rest. In this case, I think the easiest kind of token to create is going to be a treasure token. We can use small options like Wily Goblin, Strike It Rich, or Prismari Command to just make one at a time, or bigger bursts of treasures from Storm the Vaults, Treasure Map, or Dockside Extortionist. I think we're very clearly leaning into Grixis as a color identity, but before we lock that in and decide on our commander, let's take a look at how this deck would win. Ideally, we're going to be creating ludicrous amounts of tokens, treasures, food, and clues. Even if we can't get Manufactor running, we're going to be passively generating treasures. So how can we leverage that to win? In a worst case scenario, we'll have artifacts entering the battlefield, so we can count on cards like Altar of the Brood or Reckless Fireweaver to do some real work. Their enter the battlefield triggers start good and get better if our primary game plan just starts snowballing. We can also include some X-Spell finishers to help close out the game. We'll be making lots of mana, so sinking it into a Crackle with Power or an Exsanguinate or even a Comet Storm can certainly help take down multiple opponents at once. Two alternate win cons fit right into what we're doing in Mechanized Production and Revel in Riches, an excellent overlap in synergies that can steal the game even if our primary plan doesn't get off the ground. The best part is, if we can get our game plan of multiple manufactors rolling, we'll be making enough clues and treasures that we can draw most of our library, finding a win con when needed. That means we can include more pieces to get our game plan going and fewer win cons. Our tutor package is great redundancy here, too. With all of these factors plotted out, it looks like we're going to be leaning into Grixis heavily, red, blue, and black. Now, who do we choose as our commander? What are our options? Kess, Dissident Mage, is certainly a choice, allowing us to rebuy a spell on each of our turns. That can help us double up our tutors or copy spells to make more copies. Obika, Brute Chronologist, can help turn temporary copies into permanent copies if we end our turn with their exile or sacrifice triggers on the stack. And we're not suffering for a lack of partner options in these pairings either. Sakashima and Vile Smasher give us a clone in the command zone, even if I already have a Sakashima deck. Silas Wren would give us a good way to recur Academy Manufactor if it gets removed, and is a bonus artifact creature. I like that. We could pair him with Jeska for a win con in the command zone once we reach ludicrous amounts of mana as well, recasting her over and over again. That seems like an efficient solution. Or we could pair Silas with Krark the Thumbless. That would be more fun, as we could double up on or recast our spells for more triggers or more effects. High risk, high reward. Imagine getting a second copy of a Kicked Rite of Replication. That would be living the dream. Okay, awesome. This is neat. I can see this coming together now, leaning more on spells making copies than clones, and getting extra value from Kark by doubling up on spells. We won't go full coin flip, but including the new Tavern Scoundrel can definitely lead to situations where we get value on value. Now that we have our moving parts, let's include some veggies. If you've read some of my articles or heard me use the term before, veggies are the necessary parts of a deck. The boring staples we need to include, the veggies we have to eat before we get dessert. This includes mana rocks, card draw, and our interaction packages. Since we're in red, blue, and black, we don't have any spell-based ramp outside of treasure tokens. So we're going to want to be including mana rocks. Talismans, signets, and Soul Ring will help us get there without a doubt and help lean into some of our artifact sub-themes. For card draw, we have some of the best options in the game. Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, and while we have access to many wheels, all want to avoid them since I do want to include Hull Breacher in the deck for treasure token generation, but without the option of shutting my opponents out of the game. I'm not a total monster, after all, and we aren't lacking for interaction either. We have Blue's suite of counter magic, Black's single target creature removal and board wipes, and Red's excellent artifact removal. We'll keep all of these options to the lower end of our curve so we can play them in addition to forwarding our own board state and primary game plan. I don't like taking a turn off to deal with something in play, not when there are other board states that progress in the meantime. Okay, it looks like I have a list together. We have creatures that make us treasures, copies or act as win cons, along with a few of the lower costed clones, and we have a few planeswalkers that act as either win cons or make us copies, spells that tutor our hidden commander or interact with the board, and generally solid pieces throughout. I'll throw together a basic heavy mana package to run through a few hands and see if there's anything that I change, add, or remove. If I find more capable hands, 2 to 3 lands and a mana rock or card draw, then I know I've struck a good balance. You can find my list in the description below, and stay tuned to my socials to find out when I'll be playing this mad creation on stream next. Do let me know in the comments what you would add to this deck. Did I miss anything important? I would love to hear from you. And as always, folks, good luck and have fun.